It's the Braves Today podcast. The Atlanta Braves continue to be the best team in baseball, already winning 60 games before the All-Star break. I'm Zach Blackerby. He's Ben Taylor with BravesToday.com. And Ben, let's start big picture here. Like we just said, the Atlanta Braves keep on winning 11 straight series wins. This team just keeps winning and keeps scoring seemingly at will. It's incredible to watch.
This is what I said last night's recap, where I said they need production out of the top half of the lineup. They got that tonight, and you see what happens. They put runs on the board. Anytime, and the announcer said it best. Like, I'm not a big Fox guy. I'm not a big Apple Plus guy whenever they had those guys in the booth. That's also probably because we're Braves homers, and so I like the Braves guys rather. But they said that. They said it makes such a huge difference when Acuna gets on base. Things happen, and that's exactly what took place early in the game. It was in the fourth. That's whenever he got on, and then the rest of the lineup kind of followed suit. It was like, okay, here we go. Not to mention, Zach, this is one of those things where you had a young pitcher tonight who, by the way, could be a Brave at some point just because he is a Roswell native. So, yeah, he's a Stone Mountain kid. And so more than likely, I mean, he's so young, giving 3 or 4 years when it's time for him to extend his contract, they'll probably ship him to the Braves. So, or when he becomes a free agent. So he did fine through his first inning. The problem that he had though, he showed, and the announcers brought this up, he showed every pitch he had in the first 2 innings. And you can't do that to a number one team or a first place team, or preferably the best team in baseball, because their second time through the lineup was in that fourth inning. And you saw every one of them, they went from striking out a ton in the first 3 innings and not hitting the ball hard at all, to then all of a sudden they started barreling balls in the fourth.
Which, to be fair, that isn't something that we've consistently seen with this team. They'll score 4 runs, 3 runs consistently in the first because Ronald just gets on them, and then somebody usually bats them in. And then it kind of goes dark for a little bit. And there's kind of a lull, and then usually in the 6th or 7th, when the bullpen comes out, they kind of get to get to them over the course of the game. But it was kind of refreshing to see, like, okay, it's a slow start, and then boom, popped them in the mouth when they kind of showed a chink in the armor. I thought it was great.
I wrote it down. I said, just to put a little star by it, and I said too aggressive to start out with. They were swinging at everything those first couple of innings, and like you just said, they made the adjustments. And then poor kid Taj Bradley, he got, as I call it, he got murphed. That's happened the last 2 nights to the pitchers, to the opposing pitcher. They got murphed as he stepped up there and planted one about 490 feet away. And he is by far right now, defensively, offensively, the best catcher in baseball. No doubt in my mind. And I don't know if the argument against this. Darno may be the second best catcher in baseball. That's the bad part.
Yeah, and the Fox broadcast gave him some props. He's played 35 games this year, and 1 out of every 5 he's popping a dinger to the outfield, which is extremely exciting. And props to him for knowing his role and just kind of buying into it, because I'm sure that wasn't a fun process when they went out to go and get Sean Murphy, but he's been an incredible piece for this Braves team. There's no question about that.
Darno was an all-star last year.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And now you've got another all-star that took his spot.
Yeah. The rich keep on getting richer. So with that Sean Murphy homer, that 3-run homer in the 4th inning, like you said, it extends the Braves' active streak now to 25 straight games. With a home run, which, Ben, that is stupid. It's remarkable.
They started the year, they had 21 straight, and then now they've broken their own record, and they'll go for 30 straight as we head into the All-Star break on the 3rd game. When you talk about their approach to the plate, if it's not, and honestly, we talked about online, kind of some chatting going back and forth, the dimensions of the ballpark. The Braves could have had 3 or 4 other home runs tonight. Now, with that said, the Rays could have 2. Yeah, the Rays could have 2. I will go ahead and put that out there too. And when somebody said, in the chat, they said that speaks to how good the Rays hitting really is.
No doubt.
Now, the Rays hitting is that good when they're not facing Spencer Strider. That's probably the X factor in that. And so that's why they weren't getting, they barreled up the ball the first couple of innings. I mean, lead off with a hit to right, and then put 2 guys on. Spencer Strider gets out of a jam to start with. Spencer Strider and Taj Bradley had 2 polar opposite starts. Bradley starts out with nothing but strikeouts and shutting the Braves down. Strider has to get out of a jam in the first, and then they can't touch him. And at one point, gets 7 straight strikeouts and ends with 11.
Nasty. Yeah, and then he had multiple runners on in the 6th, and he worked through it as well. Then they tried to get him to go through the 7th, and he got one out, and it just didn't really work. So
yeah,
that's okay. That's okay. He got 100 pitches in. That's fantastic. But I mean, Spencer Strider, I mean, his body of work continues to be impressive. Not as quite as impressive as his thighs, but still very, very impressive nonetheless.
I called him online. I called him Spencer Thider. That's what he's going to be.
I like that.
That's what he's going to be to me from here on out.
I like that. I think we could definitely do worse. We have done worse. So I think that's good.
That's how Mike Tyson would pronounce it. So that's what I'm going with. He would call
Can you say that? Is that okay to say?
The bullets have been fired now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mike, if you're watching, that was Ben. That was not me, sir.
Is Mike a big Braves guy?
I'm sure he's watching Braves today. Absolutely. And let's spend our last few minutes here, Ben, talking about kind of what happened offensively for both teams in those last 2 innings. I guess first off, it was just the weird decision by Matt Olson to throw the ball to third when there was already kind of some chaos happening.
Yeah, you pocket that ball. What are you doing?
Yeah, and at that time you're up 4-0. It's like, just hold the ball, Matt. What are you doing?
Yeah,
that was a really weird thing to
that
do.
Run means nothing. So why do you just give it to them and give up the shutout? I mean, the Rays had not scored in the last, I think they said on the broadcast, 17 innings, I guess dating back to their series before the Braves. So they had gone that many innings without, and then you just give them a free run because you throw to an empty base. Now,
well, and you could tell, Ben, he like clutched it for a second. He knew he shouldn't have thrown that ball.
Oh, no doubt.
Anyway.
Yeah. The look on his face after he threw it was like, that was so dumb.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure in the clubhouse, they love joshing guys like that, like to say, you know what, you cost us a shutout. Like, look what you did. Like, we could have zeroed the Rays out with a game pending, for game 3.
Sure.
And what do? You go and pull a bad news Bears and just start kicking it around the infield.
Yeah.
However, the Rays paid them right back and gave some insurance runs to the Braves.
That's right. Well, I wonder how long it would. I've always kind of wondered how long would it take for Marcell Ozuna to get from first to home, and it was
Arcia. It was Arcia. It was Arcia that it was the shortstop that was. And so, first to home. I'm watching with my wife. My wife goes, "Why is he just laying there?" I said, "Because he just ran from first base to home off of a ball that was hit maybe 60 feet. I mean, and so maybe 70 feet because it did go past the pitcher's mound. But the shortstop received it right there at the first part." And now I will say, and the announcers brought this up, that is a tough play. That second baseman was coming in hard. And I think the second baseman, with as slow as it was hit, thought he was going to go to first. Lau did. And so I think he was caught off guard that the shortstop fired it over to him at second. And of course, it tipped off his glove. And Ron Washington had the wheels up over there around third base, man, saying, keep going. And I'm sure Arcia was like, why am I still running? Like, why? Because he never stuck his head up to look to see where the ball was.
I was surprised just watching. I was like, okay, cool. He got to third. And then, when they made the call, because he wasn't in shot for some reason with the and they're like, oh no, Wash is sending him home. I'm like, dang. All right. And then the throw wasn't even close. Like it was an easy score.
No, again, they turned into bad news Bears. They started kicking it around, just like Olson throwing it to nobody. It was like the right fielder came up and just threw it halfway up the backstop. And you're sitting there going, these are Major League Baseball players, and they looked absolutely awful. They looked like the Little League World Series in the last inning. But we'll take it. A win's a win. Yeah, it gave us insurance runs, so we'll take it.
Secures the series. 1 game left. You just look at this lineup. I got the box score pulled up. Acuna's hitting 335. Ozzy's 263. Austin Riley's over 260. Olson's leading or just about leading everybody except for Shohei in home runs, and he's batting 250. Murphy's 306. Arcia's 299. Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous what they've all done. And so hopefully they finish this first half strong and we'll have lots of coverage of the All-Star game, which essentially has just become the Atlanta Braves Invitational. Right?
Just about everybody. I mean, there was a meme that was shared with Freddie being at first, and they said the look on Freddie's face when he looks around the infield and it's all his former teammates playing, because he's going to be starting first, except for the starting catcher in Murph, because he was not with the Braves when Freddie was with them. The one thing I'd like to see come out of this All-Star break is Austin Riley bounce out of his funk, as well as Ozuna. Ozuna's getting back in that. Both of them 0 for the last 2 days. Riley 0 for 5 today. Otherwise, that average is probably a little bit higher than that 260 that you just talked about. So
good point.
Get those bats going a little bit. Get them some rest during the All-Star game. Mentor also looks like he's going to need the rest. He did get caught saying it's going to be okay. So I guess he just felt some discomfort, and he thought, why chance it? I got a week off. Go ahead and pull. I mean, we're up 4-0. There's no point in me injuring the team and injuring myself worse. So I don't know. He pointed to like his pec/shoulder area. There's been no word yet.
Yeah, he did like one of these numbers, like he was trying to like loosen it up or stretch it out. And so then he like looked at Snit and was like, I think he mouthed like, I'm sorry or something.
Yeah, he apologized to him. So. So I'm saying he should have apologized to him in the first part of the season when he's blowing all those saves, but he didn't do that.
You're pretty hard on him. He's shaped up. He's shaped up.
I did. I said when they went to Toronto, I said, leave him in Atlanta. Don't let him go north of the border.
That was pretty intense. But I guess he and Mike Tyson watched this show together, and so they're both on the same page there. He's been Taylor. I'm Zach Blackerby. Be sure to check out all of our content at bravestoday.com.